Sawasdee krap, and welcome back to LPRs Delivery. Most people in the world perceive air traffic control as an extremely stressful job, or often one of the most stressful jobs in the world. So, as an air traffic controller, you should be very familiar with the word stress and how to use it exactly. So today's lesson, I'll show you some tips about how to research vocabulary and specifically how to use the word stress very well. First of all, let's look up stress in the dictionary. I highly recommend using a learner's dictionary when you're trying to learn new vocabulary in English. Once you get past intermediate or even pre-intermediate in English, you should really stop using bilingual dictionaries or Thai to English or English to Thai dictionaries because it's not quite as accurate. Learner's dictionaries are specific dictionaries that are used for people who are learning English, and they give you lots of helpful information. So today I'm going to demonstrate that. To find your Learner's Dictionary, simply go to Google and write Learner's Dictionary. I prefer the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. That's what I'll show you today. Here we are, Oxford Learner's Dictionaries. So let's start here and we'll type the word stress. So here we are, we see stress is a noun. We can also see that we've got the phonemic spellings, and also the pronunciation. So let's listen to British,
stress,
and American.
Stress.
So it's nice that you can hear both pronunciations. After this, we can see that stress has some different definitions. We see one, which is mental pressure, or pressure or worry caused by the problems in somebody's life. We see that there are other types of stress, like physical pressure, emphasis, stress on a word or a syllable, stress in music, illness, etc. So stress can mean many things, but for our purposes, we're talking about mental pressure. Also, we see that the Learner's Dictionary will tell us whether the noun is countable or uncountable or both. So we can see some examples here. Things can easily go wrong when people are under stress. In this case, stress is going to be uncountable. Here, to suffer from stress, coping with stress, etc., we see many different common phrases that we can use with the noun stress. Also, what we can see here is we've got synonyms, collocations, and Oxford Collocations Dictionary. What I want to show you today, though, is the Oxford Collocations Dictionary. This is a partially free service that you can use. So let's look. We can remember from previous lessons that collocations mean words that just go together naturally in a language. So since we're talking about the noun stress, we can see some adjectives that go along with it. Considerable stress, extreme stress, great stress. Or we can see level of stress. Or we see verbs that we use with the noun stress. For example, cause stress, create stress, avoid stress. Also, we see stress with other nouns that make compound nouns, like a stress level, stress control, stress management. Also, we see a common preposition here, under stress. For example, I am under stress at the moment. Here we see other phrases. Also, you can see here the full entry. So if we click that, we see this page from Oxford Collocations Dictionary is available with an access code, which means you're going to have to buy access to the site. It's not that expensive, but to be honest, you're good enough just to use the free things that we get from the Collocations Dictionary. You can also buy the app for your mobile. Next, we can see these nearby words. So we see stress can be a noun, or it can also be a verb. So let's check out the verb. Again, we see pronunciation is the same.
stress,
Stress.
And here we have emphasize, word or syllable. Here we have to become or make somebody become too anxious. So anxious and relaxed, this is the definition that we're looking for. We see that it can be intransitive or transitive. That's another good thing about learners' dictionaries is they give you this information, which some other dictionaries do not. If you'll recall, intransitive means that there doesn't need to be an object. For example, if we look at this one, I try not to stress out when things go wrong. So we see here that stress out is the intransitive way to use it. So we don't need to stress out something, just stress out 谢谢而已. Also, we see that we can use as a transitive verb, which means that we'll need an object to stress somebody out. So for example, driving in cities really stresses me out. So we notice that we can use it both ways. Next, we can see that stressed can be an adjective. So let's check out the adjective form. So here, again, we see our pronunciation. We can listen again.
Stressed.
Stressed.
Right, so for pronunciation for this, it sounds just like the words best, or nest, or west. Okay, so est, stressed. So we see here that adjective stressed is a feeling. He was feeling very stressed and tired. Now again, let's look at our collocations about how to use this feeling stressed. We often use the verb to be. He is stressed. I am stressed. And feel. I feel stressed. She feels stressed. Or look. The man looks stressed in the photo. Also, we see common adverbs. Extremely stressed. Fairly stressed. Very stressed. And also prepositions. Right? So I feel stressed about my job. Or I am stressed over my new position. Something like that. So we see these common prepositional collocations as well. We'll look at one more form of the word stress. We see stressful is also an adjective. So how are they different? Let's look. Stressful is an adjective.
Stressful.
Stressful.
Means causing a lot of anxiety and worry. For example, a stressful job. So we notice here that stressful is the adjective describing job, which is the job causes the anxiety and worry, not feeling. Right? Same idea here. It was a stressful time for all of us. Stressful is the adjective that describes time. It's not describing us. Okay, so again, stressful is not a feeling. Stressful describes either a thing or maybe a situation that causes stress. So let's look at some more of these collocations. Again, to be stressful, to prove stressful, to sound stressful, extremely stressful, fairly stressful, very stressful. So in summary, when you're learning new words, consider using these learners' dictionaries and really dig into one word and research it very well. And that's a good way to improve this vocabulary score on your exam. So now that we've used our learner's dictionary and we really understand how to use the different forms of the word stress, let's look at some common mistakes from the LPRs exam. Let's look at some common mistakes from the IKO exam. Let's say the interviewer asks, is it true that being an air traffic controller is one of the most stressful jobs in the world? You might answer, yes, sometimes my job is very stressed. Is this correct? No, because here we have verb to be. So this should be describing the job. So stress is not an adjective. So do we need stressed or stressful? It should be stressful, because remember, stressful describes things that cause people to feel stressed. Another common mistake would be this. How do you deal with stress in your job? If I feel stressful, I sometimes ask my supervisor to take my position for 5 minutes and take a walk. If I feel stressful. So here we've got the verb feel, right? And we have to remember that stressful is not a feeling. It should be describing the feeling of I. So should not be stressful, should be stressed. Yes, exactly. So that's all for today's lesson on the word stress. I hope now you can use the word stress in many different forms, and I hope this lesson wasn't too stressful, and I hope you didn't feel stressed. So thanks and see you next time on LPR's Delivery. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ